I know what you're probably thinking. You're looking at this jar and you're like, what's that, Lauren? That is not the jar that you've been using. You're right. It's not the jar that I've been using. I ordered a different jar. Let's talk about why. Okay, so as you guys know, if you've been around at all, I have been struggling to wick the white tumbler that I had, which is I want to say 9-ounce straight-sided tumbler, I'm pretty sure. I will show you, just in case you're new here. Looks like this. And I have tried a multitude of wicks in that jar to try to successfully wick it, and I've had a really difficult time. So I'm going to follow my own advice, and I actually talked about this recently in another video that's going to be posting soon, which is all about, I think it was six mindset tips for difficult days in the candle studio or in life in general. I did mention as one of my tips to not subscribe to insanity, and by that I mean don't keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. That's crazy. Sometimes you just have to change what you're doing, and I have a hard time doing that sometimes. So I am having difficulty following my own advice, but I am finally doing it. And the reason why is because it almost feels like quitting. And I don't know about you guys, but I was raised not to be a quitter. So I tend to only do things that I do well at and that I can accomplish and that I can perform well at. So that being said, this is an exercise in patience for me and persistence, just candle making in general. But all that to say, it was time to try a different jar. It doesn't mean I won't come back to that jar eventually. It just means it's currently beyond my skill set and my knowledge to wick that one properly. And it is inhibitive at this point. It's stopping progress in a lot of other areas. So we're going to try a different jar. Hopefully you guys are down for just like a chatty studio vlog kind of day, because that's probably what we're going to be doing. I literally just wrote, the time is 12:23, and I just wrote 12:23 as the date on this piece of paper. Wow. It's not December, it is June. 6:23. Okay, so why did I pick this particular jar? The main reason I picked this jar is because of the diameter. So the diameter of the white jar is about 3 inches inner diameter. This one is actually 2.43, I believe. For whatever reason, 3-inch diameter jars seem to be a little bit harder to wick for whatever reason. I don't know if it's just my setup, but I have seen that other people have had difficulty. I know I've mentioned that before. I'm like a broken record. So that being said, I don't think it's just me. And I also have seen that this particular jar is widely used by small makers. So it's not that I want to have the same aesthetic or the same jar as everyone else. It's actually the opposite. I initially chose an apothecary jar, which was even more difficult because it has a different diameter at the top than it does at the bottom, and it also has a shoulder. Let me show you. It's dirty, but this one. So see how it has a shoulder here, and then when you fill these jars with wax, you can't really tell when it's empty, but when it's full, you can 100% tell that the diameter of the jar at the bottom is different than at the top. It's actually more narrow at the bottom. So that's actually the aesthetic that I was going for originally, and I love that jar, but I also have had difficulty with that one, and that's a little bit different situation. I originally stopped using that jar because of aesthetic reasons. because I was having a lot of difficulty with wet spots. And that was when I was using 100% soy. So hence the white jar. And then I was using soy with the white jar. Still wasn't getting the results that I wanted out of soy wax. And that's why we now have a blend, a wax blend. And despite the aesthetics being very good with the white jar, like I'm getting beautiful tops. Obviously it's white, it's not clear. So if there are wet spots, you're not seeing them. I cannot get it to wick for the life of me. So this is a clear jar, which poses different challenges for me. However, if I can get it to wick properly and melt properly, then the occasional wet spot will not be inhibitive to me. Everyone experiences wet spots, and although I will do everything I can to avoid them and make it as aesthetic as possible, I know it's not feasible to think that there'll never be a wet spot. So we will just do the best that we can. So that's the reason why I chose this jar, mostly because of the diameter. Also the cost. This jar actually is quite a bit more cost effective than the white tumbler, which might be another reason why a lot of small batch makers choose it when they're starting out. And because I did see a lot of other experienced small batch makers using this jar type. So if I continue to have issues and I need support, it may be easier for me to get the answers to my questions. You know, maybe someone out there might be able to assist me if I end up not being able to get these to wick properly. I am happy to report though that I have burned one round in these jars already. I used an HTP 93. That one tunneled really badly. You guys will probably see it in an episode of this week's wick eventually. So I literally only burnt that one for an hour or two. It tunneled immediately. Like I've never seen one tunnel that fast. And I also did a CT10, and that one was pretty good, but it was still underwicked. So that being said, we're gonna try some different wicks, and I'm excited because I have some Premier 755s. They just got delivered from Black Tie Barn. So I am excited to try out some Premiers. I initially bought these Premiers for the white jar, so they might be too large for this jar. I don't know. I have 750s, 55s, 65s, and 70s, so I can go down a step if needed. I don't know. At this point, I'm gonna throw a dart at the wall, and then I'm gonna go from there, basically, with the Premiers, because I have no experience with those. I read a lot about them and looked at a lot of wick charts, and a lot of them were suggesting very, very much smaller sizes. So I could be completely off, but I'm not going to know until I try. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go up one in the CDs to a 12. I think this will work. It's just not my favorite flame profile. Like I'd much rather have an LX or an HTP, but if it works, it works. Since the 93 HTP tunneled on me, I'm going to do an HTP 1212 today. Could be too big. I don't know. If it is, I'll go back down to a 104. I do have those. And I'm also going to try an LX22 today and see how that goes. And if you're a candle maker, you might be like, girl, those are all way too big. I don't know. We'll see. The CD12 is not too big. I'm telling you that. But, and I truly don't think the HTP 1212 is too big either. The LX22 could be. I don't know. If it is, then we'll go to a 20. But just the way I've seen the LX burn in the past, I think that this is a good choice. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and wick these jars. And I'm actually remelting some wax from those other two that I burnt before. And I do have quite a few fragrance-free testers over there that I would like to remelt. I just can't stomach wasting all that wax. So even though it slows me down quite a bit, I am trying to reuse, recycle as much as I can. So let's go ahead and wick these, and then we'll just pop them in the warming box until our wax is ready. Okay, I am back. I'm going to grab some wax really quick. I think I'm only going to pour 2 of these at a time. Just in case I get lucky and hit a winner or 2 in the first round. I don't want to be pouring so many testers. Test them tomorrow, and I'm going to try to check in with you guys for that. Maybe bring you along for a couple days of testing. Okay, I really do have to get going, so we're gonna go ahead and pour. We're at 170 degrees, which is what I used to do with my white jars. It was cooling down a bit before I poured it, and this one's a little bit lower than what I would like, but it's okay. It's a tester. It'll still give us valuable information. So I'm gonna go. I'll see you back tomorrow when we burn these. Hello, good morning. As promised, it is a new day and we're going to light those testers that we poured yesterday. I'm gonna light these and then I will be back definitely at hour 3, because that's probably when I will conclude the test for the day. But if I notice anything in particular, I will pop back on before then. I just wanted to take a quick video immediately after lighting, just in case, because this could be the wick is too big immediately situation. This is an HTP 1212 off to the left here. You can see the flame is surging quite a bit. I just lit it and there's already a small mushroom starting to form. It's minimum 1 inch, probably 1.25 inches, and flaring or surging a little bit, which is causing a little bit of gray smoke. To the right over here, this side, we have an LX22, which looks pretty good right now. If I was a betting woman, I almost would think I would go with an LX. I just happen to like the way that they burn the most out of all. They just stay very straight. The flame is typically pretty tight and tidy and controlled. So flame is probably right around 1/2 inch, 1/4 to 1/2 inch. No mushroom yet, no surging, no smoking. So we will come back in just a little bit to check on these and see how they are doing. Okay guys, I wanted to show you really quick because we just started this test 15 minutes ago and I'm already going to go ahead and probably conclude the test. I may let this 1212 go a little bit longer, but probably not much, as the flame was pretty large on ignition and it's already kind of it's not completely unsafe at this point, but it's dancing around a little too much. I just don't think it's the right choice. This one, however, did something interesting. Unfortunately, there was a cavernous sinkhole underneath the surface of this wick. I don't think this wick is inherently wrong. I just think the sinkhole caused a collapse and that's going to mess up any kind of result that I could get. So I'm going to need to go ahead and try to fix this LX22 tester. I will try to salvage it and then we can try to test it again. I just want to show you guys really quick. Look at all this wax I just recovered out of these jars. They've been sitting, waiting to be dewaxed for a while. This is all fragrance-free wax. Yeah, this actually worked a lot better than remelting with like a double boiler method. So just in case you are a maker and you're going through a similar situation to me, consider doing this way. Obviously, be cautious. But I actually just warmed them in the oven on a very low heat for a couple minutes at a time. I think it maybe took like 9 minutes total. Um, and I was able to recover all this wax just using, a little silicone spatula and a spoon. Obviously, I was very careful, and anything that had wick debris in it, like it touched the wick at all, I threw that out. So this is all mostly from like the sides of the jars, but this is still a significant amount of wax that I don't necessarily want to just toss. I would obviously never use this to make a candle to sell to someone. This is only for testing purposes, but just in case you are in the same situation, or you're just looking for an easy way to de-wax your jars, this was actually a lot quicker and, in my opinion, safer than doing the double boil method on the stove with water. Okay, it is the next day. I poured this tester in the afternoon after the catastrophe that you guys obviously saw with the straight-sided threaded jar. Yes, both of those wicks failed miserably. I don't think it was really the LX 22's fault necessarily that it didn't go well in that jar. But listen, they get sinkholes really bad. And I'm sure I can continue to refine that and work through that, but aesthetically, they're a disappointment. Like, there's lots of sinkholes, there's lots of uneven tops, there's lots of adhesion issues, and obviously you can see everything because they're clear jars. So since I got more wicks in that I did originally order for this jar anyway, before I previously gave up on it, I decided I would try again. So I'm keeping all my options open, basically. I'm not married to any idea. We're staying flexible. So this is I think it's a 9-ounce straight-sided tumbler, in white, of course, to hide any adhesion imperfections. I know that a lot of people get them and it just is what it is, but something about it just really bothers me. So I'm going to try to avoid having that as much as possible. This is an LX22. I have tried a 24 previously. I have not tried a 20. So the 24 was too hot in this jar. So we're trying a 22 and we're going to see how it goes. This is on ignition, and it's looking good so far. So nice stable flame, maybe like half-inch, quarter to half-inch. No crazy surging or smoke or soot or anything like that. So we will continue to watch this over the next few hours in this little studio testing vlog. Okay, this is a 3-hour check-in for this LX22 in the straight-sided tumbler. It's been going pretty well. So far, it looks like this candle will earn itself another burn for sure. The flame has been stable right about this height. No soot, no smoke. There is a small mushroom, but nothing too concerning at this point. There's a little bit of hang up on the backside, as you can see, because it's curling to one direction. So there is a little tiny bit of hang up over here, like 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 inch maybe. And on this side, a little bit more like somewhere between 1/4 and 1/2. Depth is right around 1/4 inch. And I can safely touch all sides of this jar. So I know that's maybe a little bit subjective, but it basically feels like a nice warm cup of coffee at this point, nothing scary. I'll bring my temperature gun down here for subsequent tests, but at this point it looks good, and I will probably extinguish it at the 4th hour and then burn it again tomorrow. Hi guys, happy Monday.
So as you can see, this is the LX22. This is the 4th burn. I don't think that this burn will be complete, and I also think this will probably be the last burn. I didn't get to do a good commentary on the 3rd burn. I hopefully have some footage of it, and I will have included that, or will include it, so you can compare, but it was doing pretty well, but as we know, as the candle burns down the jar, things can change. So as you can see, we're right about close to the halfway point. I think after this burn here, we will have gone to the halfway point, and likely will solidify our thoughts. But there was quite a large mushroom yesterday. Everything else about it looked really, really good. The temperature was good, the melt pool was good, but the flame was a little bit messy, like a little fat and a little loose. Apologies, the vacuum is running. A little fat and a little loose, and the mushroom was a little bigger than I would have liked. So because of that, I'm thinking we're gonna test an LX20 next. And we will see how that goes, but I wanted to kind of start to close out this test and let you guys know. So after a couple hours, I'll check back and show you how this one is doing. We'll probably go ahead and conclude this test together. Okay, I'm checking in. It is about 2 hours later. As you can see, we have a conclusive test here. There is quite a bit of soot around the rim of the candle, although the mushroom is smaller than it had been previous, and the temps are actually still very safe. But because of this soot, it just leads me to believe that the combustion is just not complete. So even though it's technically safe, it is not the right wick. As you can see, there is also debris in the melt pool. Flame is right around 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch. Highest temp on the jar was 119. The melt pool is incomplete at about 2 hours. And maybe approaching 1/4 inch in depth. So we will go ahead and conclude this test as we are about halfway down. And again, the soot is pretty obviously conclusive. So this is the first burn for the LX20 wick. It's looking good so far. This is 4 hours in, so we're about to extinguish this. Flame's been pretty consistent, no smoke, no soot. It's been about this height the whole time. There is a small to medium mushroom that has formed. Melt pool is incomplete at this point. There is some hang up over here on the left side of the candle. It has reached one side of the jar, and it's probably about a solid 1/4 inch in depth, and the highest temperature on the jar is 124. Overall, this is looking really good so far, and I will probably burn this again tomorrow.
Hello, it's me. I know y'all are shocked. Okay, so I don't even know when I originally started this vlog, testing vlog, because that's what it's turning into. So I feel like it might be a little bit all over the place. Hopefully I can save it when I start editing, and you might find some value in this content. I'm just going to cross my fingers and we're going to push it. Okay, so currently it is Thursday. It's actually the week of Independence Day. So you guys won't see this until probably much later than Independence Day. But that being said, happy July 4th. I hope everyone had a beautiful and safe holiday celebrating our nation. Okay, so I know I've been giving y'all probably whiplash with the different jar situation. And as you might have seen in the previous clip, because I did take a little snip yesterday of the LX, I want to say it's a 20. I believe I took a clip of the LX20, which is what we are currently testing right now in the straight-sided tumbler. That's the white jar. So yeah, I thought I was done with that jar, but guess what? Guess what? Let's talk a little bit about what happened with the straight-sided threaded jar, okay? Okay, so it's not that I don't think I can wick that straight-sided threaded jar. When I say that, I'm referring to this jar right here. has a little bit of a lesser fill weight than this jar and has a threaded top, straight sides, just as the name would imply. It's not that I don't think I can wick that one properly. In fact, I think y'all might disagree, but I felt like I could actually get pretty close with the first round with a CD. So if I didn't have so many aesthetic issues with it, I would have kept going. So when I say aesthetic issues, I mean that the adhesion was extremely poor, which I knew was to be a little bit expected, but I also was having to rework all the tops on these tumblers because they all had massive sinkholes in them. And while I know that's just the reality of using some of these jars, and I probably could have done some more tweaking to my SOP to make that better, I just didn't want to unless I had to. So like at this point, all my options are still open. Ultimately, I'm looking for a production ready setup that is easy to scale, but also provides the upscale experience that I'm looking for. I don't want to be reworking all these tops and doing all this crazy stuff to get a good looking candle that performs well if I can help it. So that is the reason we went back to the white jar, because my process with this jar is nailed down, baby. Like, we don't get sinkholes, we got perfect tops, adhesion plus minus. I don't really know because I can't see it. So and I'm happy to say I could be getting close. I could be getting close. The LX22 in burn 4 showed me that it was not the right wick. It began sooting at that point. So we're doing an LX20 right now. It's in its second burn. It's currently promising. I'll continue to update you guys with some clips and showing you what's going on with that. Today, though, we are going to pour a Premier 755, which I'm excited about. The reason I'm excited about the Premier 755 is that I've heard really good things about them with the 6006 wax, or just Parasoy blends in general. I first heard about them with Wade from Black Tie Barn. I watched some of his videos, and he has a video that's all about wicks. Other makers seem to have had success with the Premier series. So I am hopeful that we could get a good burn out of this. And I actually did resource on Black Tie Barn's website. They have a really nice little wick guide on there based on their own testing in-house, I assume. And they had recommended a 755 for a jar with this diameter. So I also purchased a 750, a 65, and I want to say a 70. So we have room to go up and down if we need to. But ultimately, I would love to have, say this LX20 works. I would really, really, really like to have other options. More than just one wick line that will work would be ideal. So that's why we're doing a premiere. Also, we're all about educating ourselves here. So,
okay, let's check on this LX20. Okay, here it is. This is the second burn, and it's 3 hours in. To say I am not excited is probably an understatement, but I'm going to try to stay positive. Okay, so we're 3 hours in. My concern is obviously the fact that we have this considerable amount of hang up back here with a little bit of a tunneling aspect to it. Flame, 1/4 inch, steady, no scary things with that. Mushroom, it's probably about the size of a pea. No smoke, no soot, melt pool depth. It's probably about 1/4 of an inch. 127 is the highest temperature. I will probably burn this one more time just to be sure, but I'm honestly not sure what direction I will go now. Third burn for the LX20 wick. This is 3 hours in. Flame has been steady at about this height, right around ½ an inch, plus or minus a bit. Periodic puff of gray smoke, nothing alarming. Small mushroom. As you can see, it is potentially tunneling a little bit here. I'm not sure if this is a placement problem, or not. But there is still hang up, very scant amount on the opposite side of the jar as well. Melt pool is small, it's probably only ¼ inch deep. So overall, I do think that this is going to be too small of a wick. 121 highest temperature. I think we may go one more time just to be very conclusive, but this is likely going to be a fail on the account that it's too small. First burn test for the Premier 755. This is 3 hours into the burn. Flame's been pretty consistent, right around 3/4 to an inch. No mushroom, normal curl. Periodic puff of gray smoke. Melt pool is even, but hasn't reached the side at all yet. There's probably about ¼ inch of hang up all the way around. Depth, somewhere between 1/4 and ½ inch. Definitely not sure exactly what to make of this one yet. We'll for sure burn this a couple more times to see how it looks, but overall it looks okay for now. It's possible that this wick might be too small. There is a gap in the top of the wax to the top of the melt pool, which leads me to believe it's possible it may be too small, but we will let it get further down to the jar first before we decide. So since you haven't seen me jumping for joy quite yet in this vlog, you can probably tell that we have not landed the wick yet. Let me show you. Okay, so we're obviously not burning these at the moment. I'm getting ready to leave the house, so if I'm going to burn them, it will be later. This one is an LX20. It has now burned 3 or 4 times. As you can see, there is hang up still almost all the way around the jar. A considerable amount on this side. And yesterday it started to soot just a little bit. And the temps never really got high enough for my liking to actually complete the melt pool. It was a very shallow melt pool. So that one's probably out. So the LX20 is too small and the 22 is too large. So we tried a P755 next. I was pretty hopeful about this one, but again, I think this is going to be too small. There's some tunneling behavior happening over here. It's pretty clear. Quite a bit hang up back there. I like the way the flame behaves. It looks really nice. It's, you know, tight, controlled. But it's not powerful enough. I'm pretty sure we've only burned this one twice. But I will probably burn it one more time just to be sure, but I'm pretty sure at this point that it is too small. I currently have some wax melting and I'm planning to do a Premier 765 next. I'll be honest, just like I don't know where this vlog is going, I don't know where this process is going. If I cannot get it with a Premier 765 or 770, granted that I think that would probably be too hot in a lot of cases. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I feel like I have tried so many different wick families and setups in this jar, and I'm not a professional yet. I'm not an expert yet, rather. So there's probably some nuanced things that I could be missing, but it's tough out here in the streets, okay? Pray for my sanity, I guess, because I cannot seem to get this jar wicked. So if these do not work out, I am seriously considering some different jars.
Today I want to close out a video that I've been shooting clips for probably around like 2 weeks. And I also want to share an important lesson that I have learned. The candle testing process is not linear. It is very possible that you might hit several roadblocks like I have and be forced to change direction a few times. I've changed jars, I've changed wax, and today I am shocked to say I'm trying a different wax. I know you're seeing that bag in the background and you're like, girl, what's that? It is my long lost friend, coconut soy wax. And today we are going to pour one unfragranced coconut soy wax tester. Yes, you heard it here first. My difficulties still persist with this jar. I think it's possible that the combination of the jar with this particular wax, the 6006 wax, maybe is just not going to work for me at this time. And I have tried a multitude of wicks, like 5 or 6 different wick families, bunch of different sizes, single wick, double wick, etc. And we can't subscribe to insanity. Okay, we might have to change. We might need to make a change. So I had a pretty good experience with cocoa soy in the past with a previous jar. If I remember correctly, the only issue that I had was actually the setup I had was a little too warm for that jar. Cocoa soy is a great wax. It usually finishes out beautifully, nice tops, good adhesion, great scent throw, and it can be positioned as more of a luxury, clean type of wax. So even though the price point might be a little bit higher, I am willing to give it a try. Like I've said before, I'm not married to any jar, any wick, any wax. What I'm married to is the message that I am trying to relay and the community that I'm trying to cultivate. So as long as the variables fit my brand vision and are aligned with that vision, then that's totally okay by me. So let's pour this candle. I don't know if this wax will be as forgiving as far as the curing, like the paraffin soy is. Okay, we're gonna let this candle dry and cure, and I will be back tomorrow, presumably with the final clip of this vlog to let you know how it goes. It is the next day and the final day of this vlog, for real. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. It truly has been a pleasure. I hope that you gained some wisdom, knowledge, entertainment, something from this vlog. If you made it all the way to the end, you're the best. Thank you. I will link the video that I mentioned earlier about mindset tips in the card on the end screen for you. If you enjoyed this content, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. And go ahead and hit that notification bell if you want to know what happens with this cocoa soy tester. If you're not following me on Instagram, it's @ChronicleHomeCo, and I'd love to see you over there. Thank you for spending your time here. I'll see you again soon.